the true horror story of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. High on a lonely hill overlooking Louisville, Kentucky, stands a massive, decaying building known as Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Once hailed as a beacon of hope for tuberculosis patients in the early 1900s, today it is infamous as one of the most haunted places in the world. But behind every ghost story lies a truth, and Waverly Hills holds a truth darker than anyone could have imagined. Chapter 1: The Hill of Hope. In 1910, tuberculosis, known then as the White Plague, was sweeping across America. It had no cure, and those infected were often sent away to die in isolation. To contain the disease, Louisville authorities built a small hospital on a remote hill surrounded by forests. That small facility would eventually grow into Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a 5-story Gothic structure that could hold over 400 patients. At first, the hospital was a symbol of progress and compassion. Doctors and nurses worked tirelessly to care for the sick, often living on site to avoid spreading the disease. The patients were treated with fresh air, sunlight, and rest, the only cures known at the time. But as the years passed, hope turned into horror. Chapter 2: The Death Rate Rises. Tuberculosis was relentless. It consumed the lungs, caused fever, and slowly suffocated its victims. By the 1920s, dozens of patients were dying every week. To keep morale high and to prevent panic, the staff began secretly removing the bodies through a hidden underground tunnel that led from the hospital to the bottom of the hill. They called it the body chute. The tunnel was dark, damp, and steep. Stretchers carrying corpses would slide down to waiting hearses below. For years, hundreds, perhaps thousands, of bodies passed through that tunnel, never to return. Some say the echo of those stretchers can still be heard at night. Chapter 3: The Experiments. Desperate to find a cure, doctors began experimenting with radical treatments. Patients had their lungs surgically collapsed, ribs removed, and balloons inserted into their chests, all without modern anesthesia. Many did not survive. There was one doctor, known only as Dr. Sanders, who became obsessed with his work. He believed he could save his patients by cutting away the diseased parts of their lungs. But as his experiments grew more extreme, so did his madness. Nurses reported hearing screams long after visiting hours had ended. Some said they saw Dr. Sanders wandering the halls, talking to patients who were already dead. In 1932, his body was found hanging in room 502, a room that would later become infamous for paranormal activity. Rumor has it that his ghost still roams that room, whispering apologies to the patients he failed to save. Chapter 4: The Nurse in Room 502. Room 502 has its own tragic legend. Years after Dr. Sanders' death, a young nurse working in that same room discovered she was pregnant. Unmarried and ashamed, she took her own life by hanging herself from a light fixture in the middle of the room. A year later, another nurse mysteriously fell from the balcony of the same floor. Some say she was pushed, others claim she jumped. But those who have entered room 502 since then report the same chilling feeling, the sense of being watched, and a woman's faint sobs echoing through the empty hallway. Chapter 5: The Closing of the Sanatorium. By the 1940s, antibiotics were finally discovered, and the war against tuberculosis was won. In 1961, Waverly Hills Sanatorium was officially closed. But the silence that followed did not last long. The building was later reopened as a nursing home, but after only a few years, reports of abuse and neglect forced it to shut down once more. From then on, Waverly Hills was left to decay. Windows shattered, ceilings collapsed, and nature began reclaiming the hill. Yet even as the walls crumbled, something inside refused to rest. Chapter 6. The hauntings begin. Locals began telling stories. Strange lights flickered in the windows at night. Voices called out from the empty rooms. Shadowy figures were seen wandering the halls. Paranormal investigators who visited Waverly Hills reported footsteps with no source, doors slamming shut, and cold spots that defied explanation. One group captured an eerie photograph of what appeared to be a small girl standing in the hallway, though no children were ever treated there. The most famous spirit, however, is said to be Timmy, a young boy who died of tuberculosis in the 1930s. Visitors claim to see him rolling a leather ball across the floor. If you throw it back, sometimes, the ball rolls back on its own. Chapter 7. The Body Chute. Revisited, the tunnel once used to remove the dead is now one of the most terrifying parts of the sanatorium. Investigators describe hearing heavy breathing, dragging sounds, and disembodied voices whispering from the darkness. Some have reported being touched or pulled by unseen hands. In one case, a man exploring the chute alone felt something grab his leg. When he shone his flashlight down, there was nothing there, but a perfect handprint appeared on his ankle. The deeper he went, the colder it became. When he finally reached the bottom, he said he could hear dozens of faint voices whispering the same word over and over. Leave. He didn't need to be told twice. Chapter 8. The darkness lives on. Today, Waverly Hills Sanatorium is a hotspot for ghost hunters, filmmakers, and thrill seekers from around the world. Paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures and Destination Fear have featured it, each capturing evidence they couldn't explain. Moving shadows, sudden temperature drops, and unexplained screams echoing through the halls. Visitors describe the feeling of being watched from every corner. Some say the air itself feels heavy, as if thousands of lost souls still linger there, trapped between the living and the dead. And perhaps they are. After all, more than 6,000 people are believed to have died inside Waverly Hills. That much death leaves an imprint that time cannot erase. Chapter 9. The Final Warning. If you ever visit Waverly Hills at night, you'll find the main hallway still standing strong. The moonlight pours through broken windows, casting long skeletal shadows on the floor. The silence feels endless, until it isn't. You might hear the sound of footsteps behind you. You might hear a child laughing in the dark. Or you might hear a soft voice whisper your name. Those who've gone in alone say the sanatorium feels alive, as though the walls themselves are breathing. The smell of old disinfectant still lingers, mixed with something metallic, something like blood. And if you ever find yourself near room 502, remember this. Don't go in. Don't look behind you. And if you hear a nurse's voice asking for help, whatever you do, don't answer. Because in Waverly Hills, not everyone who calls your name is still among the living. Epilogue. The Legacy of Waverly Hills. Today, the building still stands, a monument to both science and suffering. Restoration projects have begun to preserve its history, but many believe the spirits within will never be at peace. Waverly Hills is more than just a haunted hospital. It's a reminder of a time when hope and horror lived side by side, a place where life and death walked the same halls. and where, even now, the echoes of the past refuse to fade. The hill still watches, the dead still whisper, and the doors of Waverly Hills never truly close.